Okay, so I'll start off with, of course, the first big one. Talk to me about your resignation.
I wasn't prepared to resign at all. In fact, I had a level of peace, even within this upsetting, turbulent time. I had a level of peace, and I felt like we can continue to mentor and work together as a council. But when two of the individuals, and you can watch it and see that completely disregard legal direction, not just once, but more than once, that puts the city in such a precarious legal position. And I can't fix that. I can't lead us through that. They made decisions that I had never seen prior to last night. I was disappointed.
You kind of touched on it there, but just so I have it as well, what was it that prompted your decision?
The straw, if you would, was the fact that two individuals that are new to council, that I hope will do a great job, were citizens, obviously before they were elected to their positions. As citizens, they put comments on the record associated with a project and to planning and zoning. And when they did, and they're on the record, then during that time where they migrate from a citizen to a council member, they should be able to recuse themselves. And our legal team did a great job in going forward in understanding and looking at all the record, and they gave them direction. And last night they decided to disregard that direction.
And to clarify, because I did watch the city council meeting, but those council members, those are Sandra White and Ed DePriest?
Yes, they are. They are on the record, so I didn't want to use their names, but they are on the record, so yes, okay. Both of those individuals.
The agenda item that was up for discussion, that was part of the unfinished business, what agenda item was that? It
had to do with simply a reconsideration because the initial application, and it's on the record, the company's on the record, and so it should have been easy. It's reconsideration, which each council member voted for reconsideration, but that's not the issue. The issue is now there's going to be another hearing, but those two individuals completely disregarded what they were counseled to do. We need to do this the right way. The process is important. Our legal counsel wants them to be able to vote often, every time that they can, but we need to do it the right way. And Idaho law is very specific. So there wasn't a whole lot of gray within that. They disregarded council direction, and in doing so, put our city at risk, in my opinion, and in their opinion, on a shaky legal ground.
And I know you touched on it, but again, just so I have it for
You're doing great.
Notes, why for these two council members in particular, for them to be suggested for them to recuse themselves, what is the reasoning why the legal team had thought that they should?
And it's sometimes not easy. Very simply, they had made a comment, they had expressed an opinion on this project to the planning and zoning meeting. In doing so, they're on the record. And so in a quasi-judicial situation, which is where they will be in during the next hearing, it takes away their ability to be quasi-judicial impartial because they're already on the record. It would be like you saying, well, I like whatever you like, a different channel, but you work for one channel and you decide you like another one, and your legal counsel says it's probably good if you continue to do what you need to do for our channel and not give information to the competition. I don't know if that's the best analogy, so you probably won't use it, but we need to do things the right way. And there's no flexibility at certain levels. And in this, there wasn't flexibility. And they were directed more than once, often, and disregarded that direction. So I can't fix that. I can't lead us out of that. My job is to lead the community. I was elected to do so. And you can't, I am wonderful and so will do whatever levels necessary from an energy standpoint, from a time standpoint, to train, to mentor, to do what we can do to help council work together to be successful and meet the needs of our city. But when this happens, it's a complete disregard. it's way over the line. And you can't mentor that. You can't fix that.
When did do you happen to remember when they made their first opinions?
I don't. Our legal team does, but it was when they were citizens before they obviously were counselors. But I don't know if it's November, December. Great question. I just don't know the answer.
Okay, I just was wondering about a timeline or a time period.
It's within the time that it's just, it's probably the only or one of the few times that they will need to recuse themselves. It's just the gap between citizen, which every citizen has the right to say or do whatever they feel is right, and then a city council, which you're limited in terms of what needs to be done and how it needs to be done.
So I have my list of questions, but I guess.
I gave you some of those quotes in there you can use. I know I rambled a little bit, but there's some things I think you'll be able to use and identify. So.
No worries.
Good.
I guess one thing I would like to know, I mean, you've now resigned.
I have.
When did that happen?
Right after. I wrote a letter of resignation last night to our city administrator and to the city clerk. And that's the steps that I need to do. And I made it effective. There's a State of the City presentation that I'm going to be giving tomorrow. I wanted to give it. And there's a law enforcement town hall meeting tonight. Law enforcement's hugely important. And I'm afraid that some of the new council members, or existing council member, one in particular, I don't want him to turn his back on citizen safety. And he, again, because he has done that before, and it's vital that our citizens are protected. So I want to be able to do what I can tonight, and then tomorrow morning. And then March 1st is my effective date.
That's actually going to be my next question, but what has the reaction been to the news of your resignation?
I've been in the community a long time. You don't do things for pats on the back, you do them to serve. Whether I was with Jobs Plus, whether I was in the mayor position, I've been very grateful for the last, it's 1:30, so from 6 o'clock this morning, the scores of texts and emails that have been supportive. And the cities, Abby said the cities received many as well, but I can't thank these people enough. That's not why you do it, but under difficult circumstances, it was wonderful to be able to get feedback from other city leaders, business leaders, friends. It was nice. And everyone positive. It means a lot.
I know that you've given your reason about why you've decided to resign, but I do have to ask, since you are someone that has been mayor for quite a few years at this point, and since there are new council members, some might say that would ask, like, why aren't you sticking around and potentially be more of a mentor towards them?
I want it to be, great question. The focus, that's what I should be doing. That's what I want to do, to be able to help them become the leaders for the city that I would hope that they would be. But when you cross the line, when you make a decision that you're going to simply ignore certain rules, then that's hard to mentor. That's hard to fix. If there was a desire for those individuals to want to improve, to want to learn, to want to do better, then I would have been very open, and was, to be able to try to help them.
Have you heard from either one of them?
No, I have not. And they're welcome to communicate with me, but I have not heard from either one. Your questions, by the way, I know this was good questions.
Thank you, appreciate it.
You ought to do this for a living, really.
Thank you, appreciate it. I guess my next question really is, what happens now?
You'll need to talk to legal. So I'm not an attorney, but I think there's two options. If the council is full and then each council member is present, I think they can choose a new mayor within the council. If the council isn't full, then it has to be from an outside source. I think Governor Little appointed the Dalton Gardens mayor when they had issues. I'm not sure about that. You'd want to get validation from the legal system, whomever you have, to validate that. But I think that those are the two options.
That's good to know. I guess the other question I'd like to ask, because this is still so very new, and you had mentioned at the beginning of this that you had not planned to do this. How are you doing right now?
I don't want to disappoint the citizens that I serve. That's the hardest part, I think. That's the part that doesn't bring me happiness and joy and fulfillment, because I was elected to do a job. But I was elected to do a job, and if those individuals aren't going to do theirs as council, then I can't lead. Then sometimes you just need to take the whole system, move it, and rebuild it, and hopefully fix it for the better. I loved serving. I enjoy it, and that's part of what spurs me on. So we'll see where I can serve in the future.
Since your resignation is abrupt, what would have been like the end
Timeline?
end date? Yes.
2 years, year and a half, or year. It would have been a year from November's election, which I already stated that I was not going to run. My wife and I are going to try and serve a mission. She's a great companion to be with, and so her career and mine could have coincided so that in 2 years we would have both been free. So I'll probably go back into the private sector or do other volunteer work. We'll just have to see. It's been way too early to identify that. There was no reason for me to leave for something else. I left and resigned because that was the only way to fix this situation in my mind.
That leads me to my next question, because there might be, looking at the timeline and when your resignation happened, some might consider this to be a rash decision. What would you say to that?
Well, it was not something that I expected. So I don't know if rash is the right word, because I sure thought about it. And I can let you know that I came to the meeting with greater strength, peace, and confidence that we can move this council correctly forward. I never tell a council member how to vote or what to think or what to do. That's not my job. But we need to directionally move together. And if in fact opinions change, perfect. That's why we have various people on council. But based upon the actions of last night, it was very apparent that mentoring wasn't going to fix the issue. And the issue needs to be fixed. Council needs to understand their responsibilities vis-a-vis the citizens, and to put the citizens at legal risk. We had a lawsuit that was filed. One of the reasons I ran for mayor is because Mayor McIntyre said, run for mayor, be mayor, and get us out of the lawsuit, because it was going on a long time. That lawsuit was created or originated because of a decision on cap fees. There was no conscious disregard for legal. It was simply a decision that was made that wasn't made correctly. And so the city, it cost the city $1.5 million. That's a lot of money for our city with our budget of $2.5 million a year. And the citizens are having to pay for that. I am tremendously concerned of the potential lawsuits that will come against us because we consciously made poor decisions.
What time did last night's council meeting end?
I'm not sure, 9 o'clock-ish, I think.
When did you send in your letter?
Within the hour. Within the hour.
So around 10,
10,
10:30?
yeah, 9:45, 10 o'clock, whatever, but I think that's probably the right time.
Okay, I'm just trying to get a
No, that's
timeline
okay.
in my head.
Sorry, I talked with my hands.
Oh, no worries. I guess really my next question is, what is the biggest takeaway that you want people to know about your decision?
That this council needs to do better, and that this council needs to be responsible to the citizens and not to just specific small groups. This is a job to represent the city. It's not a popularity contest. These are quasi-judicial positions. There's no political affiliations in these jobs. There shouldn't be. The job is to do the job. And so my hope is that the citizens will understand, A, that I'm disappointed that I couldn't be able to help them, but B, there's real concern on my part. And I think the message of my resignation should send a clear message, or the reaction should be a clear message that says something's wrong, and we are at the precipice of potential legal issues that will hurt every one of the citizens of Hayden.
I guess now that you are resigning and your end date is coming up very quickly, what will it be like for you to watch the city council and their upcoming business?
I'll watch it with hope that they work together, that there's an understanding of the law and their responsibilities, and that they follow them. They can vote or think any way they want. That's their job. But I don't want it to be chaotic. Hopefully this will be the impetus to help them settle down and help them to find some sort of, I don't know what the right word might be, normalcy, and that they can do their job as city council members and not simply make decisions for a few.
Do you ever see yourself potentially looking back on this decision? I know it's still very soon.
Oh, I'm sure I will. I'm sure. And that's okay. I'm sure I will look back with good feelings and reservations. I mean, that's part of the deal, I think. And that's just part of life.
Do you think potentially you might feel regret looking back on this decision?
Sure. I think that's a possibility. And I think some days I might. But I can tell you that waiting the next morning and waking up, it was the right decision. And that's the best barometer that I have. I hope that the regret, my concern is the regret might come because council doesn't adhere to legal direction and moves out on their own and puts the citizens in greater legal precarious positions. That would be a regret, because then I would think, if I would have been there, could I have helped? But I was there last night and I didn't help. And other things have occurred to bring this forward that if they don't want help, then I've got grandkids that I love and they tolerate me. So that's a pretty good thing. And I've been married 47 years. I'm still on probation, but she loves me and I love her, and she was a great support last night as I shared the day.
Other than the agenda item where the issue of not recusing came up, were there any other items from last night's city council meeting that were potentially an issue?
Not on the record, no. No, but that was a big one. That was a big item. And it was interesting that the vote was fine, the end vote was fine, but the process was not.
And I'm going to ask this question
Sure.
because it might seem like an obvious one, but just also to have, why is it important to listen to council, or to legal counsel as a city council?
Well, we're not experts. And these are resident experts. The staff here at the City of Hayden, our legal staff, our city administrator, these are experts. And we're not. I've been here 6 years and I'm not an expert. I know a lot. But if you've been here 6 weeks and still disregard that, how can you justify that? These are experts. Listen to them. Whether it's in property, whether it's in whatever other docks, roads, these are experts. Call upon them. And we have a great city administrator who's an expert in his field. And we have great legal counsel who are experts. Listen to experts. Don't think that after 6 weeks you can disregard something that's so valuable and important.
That might be it for all of my questions.
Way to go.
Is there anything else you'd like to add?
No, but you had good, those were good. I think because the rest is just me. And it's much easier for you to be able to do what you need to do. So thank you for taking the time.
Thank
I'm
you.
grateful.